Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today we are going to be going over 8 things that car guys want back on cars. There are so many things that old cars used to have on them that we don't really have anymore, and we want them back. For example, something like a carburetor. The carburetors were so cool. Obviously, I know that, having an actual intake is a lot better than having a carburetor, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool, you know what I'm saying? And there's so many things like that we're going to be going over today, of 8 things that I just really want back. Also, guys, in the top of the comments is going to be a pinned comment to my new GTA Online gaming channel. So if you like GTA Online content, go over there and check it out. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's go right into the video. All right, coming in at number 8 is actually a kind of like a twofer almost, but it's just like pretty much the best way I can describe it is like special paint. And what I mean by that is when cars used to have like the 2 color combos or sort of like special designs. Like the most like popular ones that I can think of is obviously the Firebird's design of the Firebird on the hood of the car. But there are so many cars that had like 2 color combos too, like the Silvias, the S13 Silvias. They had like the on the bottom it would be like a darker color than on the top, and it just always looked perfect. Now there are some that obviously didn't look great, like on station wagons when they used to have like the wooden panels on the side. That's a different story, but most of the time when they had special designs, they looked amazing. And nowadays the only really like special designs that we get, and it's not even really like a special design because almost every sports car has it, is like a carbon roof and a carbon hood. And then they're like, oh yeah, look how cool this is. And it's just like, it's not different, man. It's not different. It's not something special. Like I look at the Firebird symbol and I know that's a Firebird. You don't look at a hood of a Hellcat and you're like, oh, it's a carbon hood, so it's got to be on a Hellcat. Like, nah, man. Coming in at number 7 is a very small one, actually, but it's something that, like, I always just loved whenever I would see it, and, oh my god, they just don't do it anymore, and it is special badges for performance models. And what I mean by that is on cars like the Nissan Silvia, for example, it would have, like, the little S, like the lightning S symbol on there that was red. The Mazda RX-7 Effany had that weird little, like, silver symbol on it. The Miatas even have their own special symbol. Every car pretty much had like their own special like symbol to it. Another thing that can also fall into the whole like special badges thing is when a car used to have like what trim level it was on the bumper, the most notable one being the Cobra, and how on the back bumper it would like be engraved into the back bumper, it would say Cobra, and it was so cool. And a bunch of other cars did that too, like the Integra, actually my Integra has the word Integra engraved in the bumper, and it's just, that's so cool. Like things like that, to be like, yeah, this is a different vehicle, like this isn't, like a vehicle that's like the rest that we sell, is just so cool. Like nowadays, the new Integra, for example, is a perfect way to describe it, actually. The new Integra has the word Integra on it too, but on the side, on a vinyl. Like that's not special, dude. A vinyl, it's just, oh my god, I don't know. Bring back special emblems. Number 6 is having the valve covers being like exposed, as well as the painted valve covers, instead of those, obviously, like nowadays we have those like plastic engine covers that just go over top of the whole engine, and it looks actually like so ugly. Like it's so ugly to the point where people modify it. When people like buy a car that they like, they take it off because of how much they don't think it looks good. And I totally agree with them. Those little plastic my 350Z doesn't have that VQ35 plastic cover over it either anymore, because it just looks stupid. And it looked so much cooler back in the day when the valve covers were right there, and it was like, oh yeah, that's an engine, and you could see where the freaking valves were, and it was awesome. And nowadays we just have freaking plastic covering up the whole thing. Now I understand why they do it. It's to make the engine bay look cleaner for like the the average buyer, for when they want to go buy a car. But for a car guy, like on a sports car, you should just take that off, because the people that are going to buy the sports car are going to take it off anyway, and just really worry about like making your valve covers look clean again, because they used to be awesome. Number 5 is a massive one. This one is huge. I freaking love these with a passion, and I don't know why, but it's a freaking guilty pleasure of mine, and it is rear opening hoods. Now, what I mean by that is when, you know how Corvettes, almost every Corvette actually, until the C8, I believe, I think the C7 even had a rear opening hood, but every Corvette until the C8 actually, their hood would open up the opposite direction. Obviously, I'll have pictures on the screen, or maybe a video or something on the screen to show you what I'm talking about. But that was so cool. It looked so cool when the hoods would open up that way. And I understand there's a lot of reasons why they don't do it anymore, but one of the reasons why they did used to do it was because they were afraid that when a hood popped open, it would get flown up from the wind if it was the other way. And so they would have it that way. So obviously if the hood does pop open, the wind is going to keep pushing it down, which is actually really smart. But the problem with it was always very temperamental. It was a very big pain to open it every time. It would get caught a lot of the times. And the biggest reason why is because working on them was an absolute nightmare. Fitting things into the engine bay, it was an absolute nightmare because they had to have somewhere where the hood can go. So I understand why they stopped making them, but at the same time, bring them back. The Dodge Viper, another one. I don't know why I just thought of that, but the Dodge Viper, beautiful one. Old BMW is beautiful. Like, they're all just so cool with the hoods when they open up. Oh. Number 4 is going to be more collabs with racing companies. And what I mean by that is any sort of collaboration. Nowadays, I want to make this very clear, we do still see some cars that have collaborations with racing companies, and it's really cool still to this day, but it's nothing near like back in the day with the way that they would do like their collaborations. Like, for example, Saleen was a huge freaking car company back in the day. They had all these Mustangs, and they would literally just take Mustangs and make them crazy. And we don't really have that anymore. Like, we still have Hennessy making some pretty cool ones for sure, but back in the day, it was like every other car company, there was a massive freaking beefed up version of it. And on top of that, even in like the lower level cars, you had like Integras had like Recaro seats in them. You had other cars with Brembo brakes on them, and you had freaking all these little upgrades that were like technically aftermarket but were put into the car from factory. And it was just so cool. And like nowadays, we don't see that at all anymore. We see freaking, like I said, we still do sometimes see like a small collaborations, but nowhere near as like cool as it was back in the day. And I want them to bring it back. It really like builds to like, it's just like, you're buying a car and you got Recaro seats in it. That's a selling point, man. That is a selling point. Coming in at 3rd place is another pretty freaking massive, actually the top 5 really are all pretty massive ones to me, but it is T-tops. Specifically T-tops. Another one that I want to talk about though in this little section is like the spider roofs, I guess you could call them, like the detachable roofs. The most notable one that I can describe for that would be like the Mark IV Supra, how you could like take off the roof. I used to think that was so cool. I actually wanted to do it with my 350Z for the longest time until I found out what a unibody was and realized I can't do that. But T-tops, like the Firebird, 300ZX, MR2, freaking Fiero, all those little T-top vehicles. Oh my god, those were so cool. And it's like the best of both worlds because now you have a convertible that you can, you ride around in with the top off in, but at the same time you don't have the soft convertible top. It is awesome. Now my dad has owned a couple T-tops in his day, and he has said that a big reason why they took away T-tops is because people didn't like them, because what would happen is the sun would just be constantly beaming on your noggin. But I don't care. Let me get a tan. My head will get a tan. I don't care. I'll freaking wear a hat or something. T-tops look awesome. Number 2 is one that I am so gosh darn passionate about, but I never hear people talk about it, and it needs more love because I want to see them back in action, baby. And it is connected taillights. Now, what I mean by that is when the car's taillight would like, the best way I can describe it is the RX-7 taillights. It's really hard to describe, honestly, but the RX-7 taillights is pretty much the best way to describe it. I love those kinds of taillights, the Fiero, RX-7. Now, I do want to say that most modern muscle cars are still kind of doing this, like the Challenger, the whole back part of it is still like a blacked out housing for the taillight. But what I mean by it is like the whole glass, you know what I mean? It would be all like a big glass taillight that you would have to like, it was the whole thing pretty much. I thought that was super cool. And almost every car that has something like that on it back in the day is a cool car in my opinion. There's actually not that many that I can really think of off the top of my head, to be honest, but all the ones that I can think of, Fiero, RX-7, just beautiful cars, absolutely beautiful cars. And I want to see more cars doing it. And I want to see more cars doing it right, because like I said, we have seen a couple with the connected taillights, but it's just like the plastic like frame around the actual taillights themselves that's black, and it's not the whole thing isn't like a piece of glass like back in the day. And I thought that was cool. Oh, the Mercury Cougar did it too. The Mercury Cougar, oh my god, there's so many. But coming in at 1st place, another car that I just thought of that also did the connected taillights thing was the Dodge Charger, I'm pretty sure, the 69 Chargers. But anyway, coming in at 1st place is, of course, pop-up headlights. We all know it. We all knew it was going to be here. We all love pop-up headlights. Who doesn't want pop-up headlights back is a better question. I don't think there's anybody out there that doesn't like pop-up headlights. They're just so cool. And if you don't like pop-up headlights, you can change them for like static headlights. It's like that simple. So you can't really change static headlights though to pop-up headlights. So why don't they just start them with pop-up headlights? Now, the reason why they stopped doing it is because of a lot of things. 1, they would break a lot. 2, safety laws came out that were like, hey, you can't be doing that no mo. And 3, it actually was really bad for like drag efficiency when you were driving, because it was now just a big square in front of your hood, and it just completely messed up the aerodynamics of the car. So it actually made it perform a little bit worse, but it doesn't matter because it looked awesome. We all know that pop-up headlights are great. I'm not trying to hop on the trend here of loving pop-up headlights, but I truly think that out of all these things that have been taken away from us from cars, pop-up headlights are the thing that I would want the most back. They're just so iconic. They're so beautiful. Literally almost every car that I can think of that has pop-up headlights on it are cool, and there's a lot of them. You got the Porsche 944, BMW E31, obviously the Miata, obviously the RX-7, the 300ZX Z31, the F40 technically is pop-up headlights. That's a beautiful car. Countach has pop-up headlights. Testarossa has pop-up headlights. There are so many great cars that have had pop-up headlights in the past, and now we just don't have them. The whole Corvette line had pop-up headlights, and they were beautiful. Every single Corvette, well, besides the C4, but every single Corvette besides the C4 was great with pop-up headlights. And I mean, they're still cool looking now, don't get me wrong, but pop-up headlights are just so iconic. Such good. MR2 had pop-up. I'm going to stop talking about which cars had pop-up headlights, but just know that pop-up headlights are amazing. We want them back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video of the 8 things that us car guys really want to see back within the car community. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know some other things that you'd want to see back personally in the car community. On top of that, guys, you already know what to do. On the top of the description, it's going to be a link to my GTA Online account. If you want to go support that, I would really appreciate it, but you don't have to. I want to make that very clear. You do not have to go over there and subscribe if you don't like GTA content. I don't want you to go over there and have another subscription in your feed and just get annoyed with my account constantly showing up, and it's something that you don't even want to watch in the first place. So only if you actually like GTA Online content, go over, give it a check, and I'd really appreciate it. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, almost Happy New Year. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. So today, Happy New Year's Eve, buddy. But, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Das Vidania, have a nice night.